It is a personal pleasure now to introduce our next speaker. Jenn Surtees is a longtime Kwasinder on staff, takes particular care of my lovely children when up at the summer, and she is going to be speaking to us about being a bridge. So please help me welcome Kanga.
Tonight I'm going to tell you two stories. Story number 1. The bags have been packed meticulously for over a week now. The final touches being added. A toothbrush, a pair of flip-flops, a Bible with an uncracked spine, and the price tag still attached, bought to ensure that the packing list was complete with every check mark. Mom's minivan packed tightly, and the nerves set in like a butterfly. What awaited was wildly unknown. Soft melodies played on the radio as the terrain changed outside the window from the bustling traffic of the QEW to the rocky cliffs that framed Highway 11. A pang of regrets tugged at the heart as the van drew closer. Although only 13 years old, the anxious sweat stains began to form in the armpits of the red t-shirt, a mark of uncertainty. A right turn is taken, leading to a winding, unpaved road never before seen. Behind it, an even windier gravel road. Cars pass on the left-hand side with empty back seats. The heart rate pumped higher with each pothole dodged. We know there's a lot of potholes. Where do you park? Where's the cabin? Where's the water? What do the bathrooms look like? Someone with curly hair, red hair, walks up and says, "Hi, my name's Hurricane. What's your name?" What lay ahead remained a mystery. Perhaps the God I was about to meet knew what was next. Story number 2. The drawers are packed with familiar items, the same items that these drawers have seen for 10 summers. A towel, well worn with remnants of Skeleton Lake's beach from the previous summer, still attached to the fabric, is the last touch. As the car navigates itself, the landmarks stick out like sore thumbs. King Street en route. A Starbucks is obviously secured like every year past. The ever-persistent traffic in Barrie, the candy store on the right-hand side, the smell of the burgers and fries as you pass Weber's on the right, each detail heightening the anticipation that never changes no matter how familiar. Then comes the right turn onto Skeleton Lake Road 5. Siri, play Our Song by Taylor Swift. The song that is perfectly timed, you should try this out, perfectly timed to bridge the distance from the highway to the entrance of the place that feels like home. The song serves as a reminder of the co-cabin leaders that morphed into my best friends. Pulling into the parking space with 11 prepared talks in hand, people run to the car. "Kanga, you're finally here." This time, as I step out of the car, I know that God has a plan. The plan is no longer for me, but it's being done through me. As you can probably guess, those two stories are two stories that I experienced, 13 summers apart. The first being me as a scared little 13-year-old who had never been away from home before, not really knowing basically anything about Jesus. The second was this past summer when I got the opportunity to be the speaker of the week to a group of 130 campers, 14 LITs, and countless number of staff. When I think about these two stories, the thing that stands out to me the most, though, is the people. That first year when I came to camp, my cabin leader, Hurricane, changed my life through the role that she played that week. She was a person who personified Jesus, not in a boastful way or a precarious way, but she showed me someone who she could love. She showed me love when she didn't actually have to love me. That was the first time that I had experienced that type of love in my life. I don't remember what the speaker of the week said, and that's probably bad because it was my youth pastor and pastor at the time. And I don't remember the electives that I played, even though I know when I was a cabin leader, I put in a lot of effort in those electives. And I don't know what the game was that played, and I'm sorry, Sarah, because that was you. And I remember that she spoke of a Jesus who loved me, and the love she explained was reflected in her actions. A few years after that first summer at camp, I had the opportunity to do LIT and become a cabin leader after that. I quickly realized, to my detriment, that I didn't magically just know all the answers and have everything together like Hurricane made it seem when I became a cabin leader. But what I did know was that Kwasind gave me the opportunity to be God's hands and feet and share Jesus, not only through words, but through my actions. For those of you in the audience, and I know some of you are probably like this, some of you might be numbers people, so I did some math for you. I have spent roughly 73 weeks of my entire life at camp. That's about a year and a half of my 26 years on this planet. I've been a cabin leader to roughly 500 young girls, including many in the room right now, cabin leader coordinator to 30 female staff and 550 female campers. I've been the assistant director in what I would call an epic COVID summer with some friends as well during the epic family getaways, and a summer of great fun with less COVID. And most recently, I was the speaker of the week. Each of these numbers stem from the first moment when someone came up to me and said, "Hi, my name is Hurricane." Having been part of Kwasind for 13 years now, I have become accustomed to Matt's vision for camp. I honestly could probably give every single one of his talks with high excellence. I looked at the program and I said, oh no, are we really going to talk about these again? But we are a catalyst for young leaders. We're a bridge to the local church, and we are a champion of Christian camping. We serve at every opportunity. We are outright Christ-focused. We are diligent. We go over and above. We are innovative. We work as a team, and we encourage honestly. We all know that Disney has impeccable customer service, that Matt makes his kids take photos with the custodians. We also know that the day before camp starts every year is Christmas Eve. Behind all the vision and mission to bring each camper one step closer to Jesus, it all starts with relationship. Hurricane lived into me at age 13, and I have had the honor of watching many of my young campers become leaders here as well. After that first year at camp, I kept in contact with my cabin leader through sending mail to each other. And that was something that was so beautiful in my relationship with her growing as a Christian alongside her help through snail mail. Because of the role that camp played in my life, I decided to go to school to become a teacher. And also because of my role at camp, I decided that teaching wasn't for me. And many other reasons. I am now a kids pastor in St. Catharines. And the heart to share Jesus with young people sparked in me at age 15 when I was able to have campers come to Jesus alongside my ability to help them. A few weeks ago, actually, my lead pastor at my church pulled me aside and said, "Hey, Jenn, I want to have a meeting with you." And I was like, "Oh, might not be very good." But he sat me down and he asked me this question. He said, "What makes you different?" And I was like, I don't know what makes me different. He asked, "What makes you different from the other people your age who work in ministry?" And I was like, I don't really know. And I think after a few minutes of talking it out with him a little bit, I realized that I think that it was camp. I understand mission in a way that a lot of my peers don't understand. Not because Matt drilled it into me, but because I actually believed in what we were doing and I saw it impact me and the way that I lived my life. I also recognized the roles that each player plays at camp. From having the smallest role to the biggest role, I was able to go from being on the front lines, working my butt off every day, to also doing many different behind-the-scenes roles. I see impact in each role at our church. I understand relationship. And one of Matt's things, when I wasn't able to come back this summer full-time, one of Matt's things that he said to me was like, "We're going to miss you on check-in day because you know every camper's name." And that's something that I struggle with, because I'm not very good at names. Many kids who come up to my desk when I would do check-in, I would say, "What's your last name?" so that I could find their first name and then remember their name. But I remember their stories, I remember what cabin they're in, and I want people to be known and seen and loved. And that's the things that I'm able to bring to my church because of camp. I've gotten to share a small snippet of my story with you guys all tonight about the amazing work that 1 week at camp did and the opportunity that it was in my life to share Jesus with others now in my life, in my work, and just in the way that I live. I wish I had an hour to tell you all my camp stories, like when I had to solo a cabin of 7-7-year-olds, these beautiful, lovely ladies here, including Grace Karkner, which is our lovely MC's daughter, as well as Matt Wilkinson's daughter, who's in the room right now. And I don't know about you, but that felt like pressure. It was her first summer at camp, and he said, Jen, you're gonna solo with Grace. And I said, oh my gosh. So that was one thing, but also, another time when my camper, we were sleeping on the island, and she was screaming because there were sea monsters in Skeleton Lake, and she couldn't fall asleep because of it. And I wish I could tell you more stories, but throughout each of these stories, the biggest takeaway is that I have gotten to be a small part of many people's stories, just like Hurricane was a part of mine. Because of the role that I played at camp, camp has given me the opportunity to lead many kids in prayers to give their life to Jesus. I receive countless text messages and emails every year from people, campers, and staff asking me to be references for them to go to serve at their churches, to go on missions, to be part of on-campus Christian groups as well. Camp influences people's life trajectory, including my own. From 13 years old with the worries about what the bathrooms would look like, to now being 26, having played many different roles at camp and helping lead my church, I can only say it is because of God's grace and the hands-on experience that I have gained at camp that I am where I am today, and I wouldn't change it for the world.